Welcome back to the Leave No Doubt Fatherhood podcast. We're excited to be kicking off a new series today. We've been contemplating this for a while, and we thought the New Year's time frame would be a perfect time to do it.
Yes.
Because everyone is in self-improvement mode and gym membership mode and goals mode. So what we wanted to do with this series is take a lot of the topics we've touched on over the last 6 months and put them into a 3-episode series that really allows you to assess where you are in these different areas and identify what is behind, what is kind of on par, what are areas where you're stronger, and helping you understand where may be some places to focus right now.
Yes. And, when you're listening to these questions that we have for you to kind of assess yourself on, you'll realize we covered a lot of these topics, but I think me and you feel very strongly that being a good father is about having your fundamentals on lockdown, right? And so we're going to continually through this podcast go back to the fundamentals, right? I mean, it's fun to chase the 20%, the sexy, flashy stuff that you see floating out there. That's fun to chase that stuff, but it's like, make sure you have the fundamentals locked down before you start chasing that stuff. So again, there's going to be nothing new on this list today, but again, we want to really have you assess yourself and say, do I have this stuff on lock or not?
Yeah. Right. Hopefully where we can be helpful is providing the framework, right? Like I can't remember ever being presented with like a fatherhood checklist of, hey, like here's 5 things to look at. Where are you on the scale here?
Yep.
So we're hoping that's valuable.
Yeah.
And within each of these, we'll kind of dig through the question, how to score it, and then where to go next.
And we're going to have different episodes based on different foundational principles that we think are really important for us all to be looking at as dads.
Yep.
So today's category is physicality. And so you're going to hear a lot of different references to us as a physical being here on earth, planted, right? And so this is all around that category.
Yep.
And we have other categories that we'll cover in other episodes too. That's
right. All right. You want to jump into it?
Yeah. Why don't you go with number 1?
Okay. So the first question is on a scale of 1 to 5, and we'll cover what the kind of scores mean. Are you routinely doing something to increase or maintain your physical fitness? So 5 would be, okay, are you routinely doing something? A 5 would be, I'm doing something 4 or 5 times a week, right? Like, and this we consider resistance training, meaning you're doing something consistently that includes resistance, weights. So it doesn't have to be that you're powerlifting, but you're doing something like CrossFit would be an example. Like there's some resistance involved. Maybe you're doing some home workouts with your pull-up bar or your row bar or some dumbbells. That's resistance training, bands. I would have some issue with if you're only doing cardio, that wouldn't really count.
Yeah, don't be getting in zone 2 cardio by walking your dog for 5 minutes a couple times a week. This is not what we're talking about. You do not check a box for a day because you walked your dog and you got a little zone 2.
Yeah, so are you routinely doing something to increase or maintain your fitness level? Right?
Yeah, I think another way to look at it is because different guys, different dads have different physical pursuits, and that's totally cool. They have different kind of goals that they want, but I think like I'm looking at it like, are you physically building the chassis?
Yeah.
Like throughout the week, right? Are you building and strengthening your chassis?
Yeah.
Yep.
And so for like the 5 is 4 or 5 times a week. It's a part of my life. It is routine and somewhat predictable. Like it's a certified part of my life.
It's a great way to put it.
3 middle of the scale, like on the 1 to 5 is kind of like, sometimes a good week here, fall off there, like it's hit or miss. 1 is I'm not even on the board. I'm not even like there's nothing happening here.
Right. Yeah. There's no physical chassis being built. We're just basically degrading over time.
We're slowly degrading. Yeah.
Father time is taking away from you every day. We're getting weaker and less fit every day.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, where do you feel like you are on this?
That's a good question. I think I am. I would say I'm between a 3 and a 4. If I'm like being tough on myself, like I want to say 4, but I think between a 3 and a 4.
Yeah.
I'm definitely right now, of course. You can't count the last week because we're in New Year, so everyone hit it 5 days last week. But I'm definitely weight training 3 times a week. Then I'm doing jujitsu 2 times a week. So now I'm at 5 days, right? Um, and then on another day or two, I'm definitely doing like long distance hiking or rucking with packs on with the kids or something like that. So there's not a day that goes by where I'm not like doing something, but I'm doing what you're saying, resistance training 3 times a week right now. And then I'm doing other, sparring and other stuff.
I think we should broaden. I think jiu-jitsu should count on this because that's such a truly physical like development activity.
Yeah.
Like you're building some real ability there and physical ability. So
Well, I'll say this, and this isn't really in the question, but I would imagine for guys that are assessing themselves at 4 or 5 on this scale, I would imagine that recovery is part of your game too, because it's quickly having to become a part of my game now. If I'm doing 3 days a week lifting heavy and then doing jiu-jitsu twice a week at 44, like I have to build in some recovery there as well, So I would say that's probably, if you're in 4 or 5 there, you're probably thinking about recovery too, just because you're putting a lot on your body. But yeah, that's what I would say I was at. What do you think you're at right now?
yeah, this is one of those that like historical average, I'm probably 4-ish, but yeah, like I'm coming out of a 3 zone, I would say.
Yeah.
I got pretty off in December and holidays, but I'm probably in the 3 to 4.
Yeah.
I would say.
Yeah, that's where I think I am too.
Okay.
I look, if you're rating yourself 5, we're considering that like your elite level. You're elite kind of strength guy or bodybuilder, or you're very strong, you're very dedicated, and like you are. So we're placing, like, don't rank yourself 5, I guess is what I'm saying. If you don't know, you're pretty elite level guy, that where a lot of your world revolves around strength training and your physical, body.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And I think that one also, just use your gut. It's like, if you're doing something that is productive here. So like, don't try to bend the rules and be like, well, I do walk my dog extra far on Wednesdays. So that's not what we're talking about. Like, this is time in the gym, time doing something like jujitsu, like hiking, I think counts, like real, like physical pursuits that are building something. Right.
Yeah. Are you physically more capable this week than you were last week?
Yeah.
Like that should be the bar for you.
Yeah. Okay. I like it. All right. So the next one is on your diet. And it is, what percentage of your weekly meals are centered around protein? And so we wrestled with the wording of this a little bit, but we feel like this really cuts to the chase across the board. At first we were like, oh, what percentage are like health conscious or aligned with your goals? But if we're really trying to directly communicate and be honest about what matters here, I think protein intake is your North Star when it comes to nutrition. And that cuts across different types of diets, different types of, well, I'm vegetarian or I'm carnivore or like whatever. It doesn't matter. Is your protein intake front and center for you? And so the question is, what percentage of the time across a weekly basis is that true? So 5 is every single meal I'm thinking about how much protein is this. That's my number one consideration in that meal. 1 is I literally have no idea what protein is, and like I have no idea what macros are, and I just eat what tastes good.
Yep. That's one. That's definitely one. Or I would say, like, me over the holidays, I was -2, maybe -3. It was more about how many carbs is in this. But
if carbs is the question, you'd be a 5.
Yeah, exactly.
My entire diet was built around carbs for the holidays.
Yeah, but again, it just like we were, when we were coming up with the questions, it's like, we can get way in the weeds with macros and macro splits, and you can go down crazy rabbit holes, and you can want to prioritize carbs as well as protein. You can prioritize fat and protein and be more animal. I mean, there's a lot of ways to do this. And so we thought, no matter kind of what pursuit, whichever road you're going down, because you can see results with many different of these, it's like, really, if you're doing number 1, which is building your body through resistance training, you're going to need protein to rebuild and repair all that stuff. Just like full stop. Right. So that's where we're like, okay, let's include just what is the core thing? Is protein the thing in each meal that you prioritize, that is you're building the rest of your meal around that protein. That's super important.
And number 1 and 2 are probably 2 of the most kind of overcomplicated topics on earth in terms of like, go find a YouTube channel to talk about like your fitness routine and what matters most. They'd be like, oh, well, it's really a mixture of this and that and this particular protocol. And then like, and then with diet, it's like, well, are you on this new modality of blah, blah, blah. It's just like people that aren't very smart using like big words to sound smart and just overcomplicate the topic.
Yeah.
And so we know when we say something like, are your meals built around your protein intake? That's not the perfect measure. But in my opinion, that's the most important measure. And I think a lot of people would agree that have some depth on some of these topics. It's like, yeah, it's kind of protein, you know, like when you boil it all down, independent of your physical goals, right? If I'm trying to become a better athlete, if I'm aging and I'm trying to figure out what's important, if I'm just trying to lose weight, it's kind of like protein.
Yeah.
And yeah, like me and you both have a pretty strong take on, well, yeah, we only eat certain types of foods, right? Like we eat organic stuff. We eat, you know, a lot of like stuff off of farms, right? Like those are all, we drink raw milk. Like there's things that we do for reasons.
Yeah. A lot of eggs.
But it's like, but the source matters.
Right. Our eggs from our chickens.
Yeah, right.
That we fed, that we know what's happening.
Yeah.
Yep.
And we don't eat, you know, a lot of like processed food or seed oils, like all that stuff. But we're not going to confuse this topic with that, because depending on who's talking, they might be like, number 2, like what percentage of your meals include seed oils?
Right.
It's like, well, yeah.
Yeah.
But that's not that's not the North Star,
right,
in my opinion.
Well, and that's the thing, right? It's whether it's question 1 or question 2, society wants you chasing these 20%. What is it? The Pareto principle, I think, right? Where it's like, I'm going to butcher this. It's all over the internet, but it's like, there's things that will produce 80% of the results.
Yeah.
Like do that. Don't chase the 20% stuff. Right. And again, when you are basing your meals around protein, then start looking into seed oils, or then start looking into carbs versus fat as energy sources. And, you know, like you can figure out what works for you, but start with the core stuff before you start chasing that not the nonsense, the little wins, right?
Yeah. And people will, so with macros, everyone's heard of macros. They think in the back of their head, if they're not familiar with this stuff, they're like, well, the first step is I need to count my macros. And again, this is true with macros. It's really all about protein. Like it's like number 1 big rock is protein. And then like depending on your goals, you scale up and down carbs and fat, you know, but those are not equally weighted, is my point.
No, they're not. And again, I have dorked out with macros, and I've actually seen really good success and got very lean and aesthetically, you know, closer to how I want to look doing macros, but it's like obsessive. And, you know, and then the extreme of that is, you know, there's a thing called if it fits in your macros, and like, you know, like teenagers are like finding ways to squeeze Taco Bell and pizza into your macros. And it's like at 44, that's probably a stupid move. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
As a dad in your 30s or 40s, you should probably be looking more at like longevity and see, okay, like what's better health wise for me, not just like, right. So yeah, but all roads lead back to protein. That's what we're saying. And if you just center your meals around protein, you're going to be way ahead of the curve. If you fill up your stomach first on protein, it's going to be a lot harder to like massively overeat the carbs. You can, but it's going to be harder to do that if you're hitting 40 grams of protein, or like, I guess that's a good question. What are you shooting for?
What are
you shooting for on protein?
I mean, I think for the average, well, that's not true. I think for someone that's physically active, that's doing what we're like resistance training, you're probably looking for 0.5 to 1 times your pounds of body weight in grams of protein. So I weigh about 200 pounds.
Yep.
Good day for me is 200 grams of protein, but some days might be like, I meant to say like about 0.75. So like 150 to 200 is a good range for me. 0.5 would be too low. That'd be like 100 grams. And that's closer to what I think, honestly, man, someone that I think like thinks they eat a lot of protein, like, oh yeah, I watch my protein. They're probably eating like half their body weight in grams.
Right.
You know, and like 100 grams per day does not cut it. 100's probably what I was eating over the holidays, and I started to look like ET like after a few weeks. So, yeah, I think for most people like that are just like, if you took someone off the sidewalk and said, "What's your protein intake?" they're probably eating like 60 to 100 grams per day.
Yep.
I bet.
Yep. I think you're right.
Yeah, and I think if you're, and that's a meat eater,
Right.
So I think you're looking for, for lay people, 30 to 40 grams of protein per meal. Again, if that's your top priority, that's going to be like your meat or your eggs or whatever the source of protein is. And things are built around that. But yeah, if you're eating 30 or 40 grams a day, 3 or 4 times, or 4 or 5 times a day, that gets you kind of in the ballpark.
Yeah, and for me, I don't know about you, Sam, but for me, the lifting and the food have always gone hand in hand. So if my gym stuff falls off, then I start eating like shit too, right? If I'm on point,
Totally.
if I'm on point with my lifting, then I'm gonna want to eat better because again, you start lifting 4 to 5 times a week, you're gonna know pretty quick whether or not your nutrition is cutting it or not, right? If you can't recover, if you're always sore, you'll just feel yourself losing energy in the gym, your numbers will be going down that should not be going down. And so if you haven't had that experience yet, get dedicated in the gym for a month and get dedicated on diet, and you will very quickly feel what is optimal for you if you can get in tune.
And that's why it's important to do resistance training, weight training, because that will motivate you to eat more protein and to eat better, and you'll feel like those things lock in. Like you said. What does not lock in is doing weight loss through cardio and then also eating like a calorie deficit diet. Like that's just torture on torture.
Yeah.
And that's why those things blow up. So
yeah, and notice none of our questions have anything remotely to do with cardio. Just so you'll see here. Now there's ways you can get cardio that aren't you on a Stairmaster or a freaking treadmill in the gym, right? I mean, you can go do cardio, you can go do some stuff, but don't go to the gym and spend your precious time in the gym. Don't be on a cardio machine.
And if you're listening to this and you're like, well, I don't really do anything right now, I kind of have some fat on me that I don't like, should I start with cardio to like lose the fat then build the muscle? No. The answer is always lift weights. And eat more protein. Like you point the ship in the direction you want to go and stuff will snap into place over time. So it's like, in my opinion, it's a mistake to overcorrect and be like, I'm going to just go on a pure fat loss diet and like calorie deficit cardio, just calories. Like you will burn out. You're going to hate it. You're going to have this weird relationship with your health because you think it's this like punishment, negative thing that you don't like doing. Lifting weights and doing resistance training, getting stronger, feeling better, eating high protein, like you're going to feel good.
Yeah.
And you're going to be stoked on the way you look. Like things will start sorting themselves out. So
yeah, your satiety on protein is going to be really good, right? And I've found if you're a little bit more okay with fats, you'll even go longer where you'll feel full, right? It's like depending on your makeup, how much carbs you can take in and out. I think that's been in my experience for my body. That's been the tricky part is the more carbs I eat, the more I tend to want carbs and stuff like that. So if I can kind of for me, protein and fat is really the combo for me to kind of like cruise into it. Now, some people, Olympic level athletes, elite athletes, people really chasing strength goals, they'll tell you, no, I need like a good carb level, to do what I'm doing. For me at 44 with kind of my goals and my energy, I'm really limiting carbs like daily, right? Again, but you got to just figure it out, but you won't know until you're in there pursuing something, a strength marker, again, trying to get another stripe on your belt or, whatever, but you got to be pursuing something pretty hard before you can start testing what works for you fuel wise for your body.
Yeah. And we don't have to belabor this because we've talked about it on many occasions. But this is not only applying to people that already like the idea of working out or think that they identify as like a physical person. This is for everyone. And there's no reason, like these questions are for everyone. The assumption is every single dad listening to this needs to be doing something physically. Like there's just no counter argument.
Yeah, I mean, I've never helped a friend get into weightlifting that doesn't have that background. for them, like 6 months into weightlifting, be like, this has degraded my whole life and it's worse and my relationships are worse. And how dare you introduce me to weightlifting? It does not play out that way. So again, if you don't have a background in strength training, get started today, and it'll benefit you in ways you could never see coming.
And it's just a package deal. Like when you get the eating and like the working out locked in, like those things kind of work together. Just the impact on your day-to-day life, your confidence, your energy, just the way you feel in your body, the way you interact with people, your mood, everything changes. Mm-hmm. And so if you think those things aren't important, I don't know what to tell you. But that's kind of what we're talking about.
Yep.
Do you or do you not want to dramatically improve the quality of your life and your family's life?
Yep.
Hopefully the answer is yes.
Yep.
If the answer is yes, you have absolutely no reason not to be doing this stuff, because there are a million ways to get started from home. It doesn't take a personal trainer, or it doesn't take a gym membership. Like, there's no excuse. Like, there's always a way. Okay, the next one is, again, scale of 1 to 5. How would you rate your energy levels throughout the day until you fall asleep? I think this is hopefully one that, independent of your athletic background, resonates. Like, this is kind of the bottom line for most people in their everyday, is just, how do I feel? How's my energy? Mm-hmm. And it's usually a good indicator of, hey, things are kind of working, or there's something going on here. Mm-hmm. And this one can span outside of just, diet plays a massive factor.
Huge.
In energy. I think, working out plays a big factor. It does for me.
Me too.
But then we get into stuff like sleep. We get into stuff like screen time. I am more and more of the belief that screen time plays a huge role in energy levels, mm-hmm. especially when you, as it relates to disrupting your kind of natural circadian rhythm through screens. So if I'm blasting screens, from sun up until sundown and right before bed, like, that just messes with the natural rhythms, right? Yep. So it gets into a lot of interesting stuff, and it's a good way to kind of identify there might be an issue. Also, caffeine intake mm-hmm. is one that we talked about.
Yeah, that's been a huge one for me.
Yeah.
We're filming this at 3:08, and back in the day when I was just mainlining coffee all day, every day, I'd be yawning through this whole podcast because it was like 3 to 4 p.m. Again, for me, and Sam has a different take, but for me, we just had basically a carnivore style lunch, and I'm right here, I'm sharp, I'm mm-hmm. with you. If I used to rock my old fries plus the bun and everything, I would also be yawning my ass off right now, just fighting to 100%. Stay awake, right? So again, like, for different people, depending on your workload, I think most people are overdoing carbohydrates, right? And so I think caffeine, carbohydrates, like you said, the circadian rhythm, the sleep stuff, it's all good, but there's nothing better for me than to come home at 5 or 5:30 and still have energy to hang with the kids and not be hangry, cranky, and just waiting for them to go to bed, right? Like, that's a struggle with me depending on my energy level. So if you're low energy all the time, that is hard, right? This listening, and it does not have to be that way.
Yep. Yeah, a lot of this has to do with blood sugar and insulin response, mm-hmm. and there's a lot to dig into with that, but that's where I agree that I typically feel the best when I am lower carb, just like mental clarity and energy wise. Mm-hmm. And this does get into some individualized stuff, because, for instance, if you've only ever eaten like high carb, like American standard diet style, mm-hmm. stopping that on a dime might be like really rough mm-hmm. on you, because your body may not have the ability to metabolize like fat, as an example. Mm-hmm. Whereas like me and you, I think we're pretty well adapted either way. Like, I think we can kind of switch back and forth between no carbs. At least for me, I can kind of toggle back and forth and feel good. I think you have a harder time with carbs than I do.
Yeah.
But you can work on no carbs, right? Like, no problem.
Yeah. I will say this though, when I first, I don't want to say standard American diet, but I definitely, the first time I tried this, I went pure cold turkey carnivore for a year. And there was definitely some awkward digestive stuff, and the gut microbiome wasn't ready to get there. But I'll tell you what, for a lot of guys, that's a very quick way to get to the weight you want to get to. So, again, look into it. I think we both kind of were testing carb loads based on what we have that day or week, or, but yes, I think, and again, this is bro science because I'm not really qualified.
This is all bro
we're
science.
veering into stuff we're not qualified to talk about, but just from my experience, yes, I was powered by carbohydrates and sugar my whole life. That was my main energy source, right? And then I explore carnivore, and then you're telling your body, no, fat's now your new energy source, and it's not as efficient at burning that. It's like, what are you talking about? I've never done this, right?
Yeah.
And that first year was kind of hit and miss. There's times when, highs and lows, and I stand up and I'm dizzy, and all this weird stuff happens when you try and shift over.
Yep.
Now, 2-3 years into it, I do feel like I can eat carbs, handle it, get back to very low carb. If I want to flow that way for a while, if I want some carbs, I can do it. So I think my body does know now how to use either or more efficiently, certainly than it did.
Yep.
Yeah. So.
And we should have said this earlier on, but again, we're kind of assessing these 1 to 5. So energy levels 1 to 5, end of the day means like I'm not even thinking about my energy until I go to bed. And when I lay down, my head hits the pillow, I fall asleep in less than 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Like I'm passing out.
Yes. Where do you think you're at right now on that?
I'm pretty good on this one. I think I put myself probably in like the 4 range. I skew 4 to 5, I would say, because it is. This one gets muddied with sleep stuff being disrupted with younger kids. So I totally get that.
Yep.
But on an optimal day where I had a good night's sleep and things were kind of in my control, I feel close to a 5 on this one.
Yeah, I'm kind of there with you. A quick story, and I know I'm being really obnoxious with all my jiu-jitsu references right now. Just give me a couple months of
never do jiu-jitsu in secret or cold plunge in secret.
So anyway, the other day though, it's like snowing, it's dark out, and it's an hour drive to get to the place I train at. And I'm like, I get home from work. I've already driven an hour home, right? And I'm like, I think I'm going to go to jiu-jitsu, right? And then I drive the hour to get there. And that's energy levels, right? That's old me would never have considered any of that, right? It's like, so I think what you're saying is true. It's like we want to have energy all the way till our head hits that pillow. And if you need to go out and drive an hour to go train, and get choked out 900 times by another dude, and then drive an hour back home, so you get if you have energy to do all that in the evening, you probably got good energy.
I'll put an asterisk on this one, which is I actually think if your circadian rhythm is firing properly, like you may get tired when it's dark outside. Like I kind of do slow down when it's getting dark when it's dark outside. So like I don't stay up super late, I am tired, I guess, when it gets into like the 8 to 9 window.
Yeah.
But I think that's okay. I think that's kind of how it's supposed to be.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think the idea that the West has now of energy is just like, you just got to be, closing deals and changing everything till 11 or 12 at night. And then you sleep 2 hours and then you got to do it again. Like I don't think that's realistic. So yeah, 8 or 9, if you're going to bed at 9 and you're getting tired at 8, that totally.
I think the one on this one, like the bottom of the scale would be getting out of bed is really hard. And it's like you can't do anything until you've had your coffee. And then you're getting tired middle of the day, after lunch, you're crashing. And it's like you can't
And you're
focus.
firing energy drinks throughout the day. You're going to coffee. You're going to the coffee spot a bunch.
Yeah, so that's a sign that something's not right. Right? And this also might be like, again, there's nutrition here. There's, hormones at play. So testosterone is a big one with energy. And if your testosterone's low, it's also probably tied to some of these things potentially. I will just say this is a super fringe comment and topic, but I feel like I haven't talked about it on the podcast, and I just want to put it out there for other dads, is after we had our last baby, like, year and a half, 2 years ago, I just was so out of it for the months after, and I was like, what's going on? I got a testosterone test, and it was low, like low normal. And I was like, fuck, dude, like, what's going on with me? And then like I started to research it, and it turns out the number one thing that lowers men's testosterone is having a new baby. I never heard that.
That's wild.
Yeah, like I thought it was going to be like stress or being sick or something. Like sick is number 2, I think.
Yeah.
But number 1 is when you have a new baby, like literally just that happening, and you like being near the baby, like smelling the baby, like the fact that there's a baby there that's yours plummets your testosterone.
So wild.
It's, I think, part of the design of just like, we don't want you out there, like, messing around, or like, you need to be at home with the baby right now.
Yep.
And so that was something I had to work through last time and figured that out along the way.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay. Next one, again, 1 to 5 scale. Rate your ability to get through the week without relying on drugs or alcohol.
Woo! We're going there.
Yeah. So let's be honest, guys.
Yeah.
Where are you at?
Well, me and Sam are both 5s.
Yeah, we are.
We set up this question so we could look good as the hosts of this podcast. We needed to get one where we got a perfect score, so we were like, "How about sobriety?"
Yeah.
If you haven't listened to the last the episodes we've covered this on, I am sober because I crashed and burned when I was younger with drugs and alcohol, and Sam is sober because he never picked anything up, and so we both are real proponents of being 100% present 100% of the time for our children, for our wives. And again, that's just our take. It doesn't need to be your take, but we do want to offer help for some of our listeners that maybe know they are struggling with it, and maybe they can switch that up.
And I think I'm also, I feel there's some value on taking a hard stance on stuff like this. This is something that I think people are wishy-washy on in kind of just general population, drugs and alcohol, everything in moderation. And so part of what I want to offer as part of this podcast is the perspective that none is an option also. No drugs, no alcohol, nothing is an option. And I just want you to know that that's there.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Because you might not get that perspective from your friend circle or your family history, but I haven't heard a great argument on why any is good.
Yep.
The best I've heard is as an alternative to pharmaceutical drugs, which I think is interesting. I have friends that use versions of like weed and like THC and mixed with CBD to kind of like help with anxiety type of stuff, or like stomach issues and chronic pain. Like that's something I'm open to, not for myself, but like I get that. Anything to me is better than like a pharmaceutical solution if it's possible. But besides that, man, like smoking weed just to kind of take the edge off, drinking just to kind of take the edge off because you had a hard day, or do it with your bros, like. There's no justification in my mind that makes sense. And so I feel like I tried to like maybe play it back a little bit the last time we talked about this, where we were still earlier in the podcast and we're just kind of feeling stuff out. I was like, oh, well, don't want to like offend anybody. But the truth of it is, if you really asked me directly, I would say I don't get it. And I think that 0 is probably the best option on this. Like recreational beer, especially to me, and alcohol drives me crazy. Like I just don't get it.
Yeah. And I want to be respectful, but I also want to speak my truth, which is I don't think cannabis is healthy for you either. And I think that whether you're masking your symptoms with like some painkiller or cannabis, right, versus looking at finding a solution that's long lasting, I think it's kind of two very similar paths.
Yeah.
It's like if you have anxiety, like let's go figure out how to rid you of that, versus just kind of like masking it, whether it's with some pharmaceutical or some weed. I mean, the weed industry is $1 billion industry too. You know what I mean? It's like there's plenty of industries that look like they're like the good guy when they're really just looking to offer you a distraction, not get to the root problem and solve the root problem, right? And I think me and you get along because we're into actually fixing the problem. You know, I had stomach issues for a while, and I'm sober. So like, I'm not going to go smoke weed for the next 45 years to like not have a stomach issue. Right. I'm going to relentlessly keep trying different things until I figured out what the stomach issue was, and I don't have that stomach issue anymore. And that's what I prefer. Right. Versus like, oh, I found this other more natural way to mask my problem. It's like, no, dude, like, let's be bold. And, so anyway, I just wanted to have that be a caveat. I think that for the generation below me, And dude, I think weed is causing massive problems in our society.
Yeah.
You know, and now you can eat gummies and all this craziness. Like, so many people are checked out,
Yeah.
right? And it's like, and the answer isn't alcohol. I'm not saying alcohol is good, but for people that are kidding themselves to be like, oh, this is better than this, it's like,
Yeah.
I don't really buy that myself. You know,
Yeah, I don't either.
yeah.
I mean, I'm trying to be charitable on the like why I think some people end up there, and I can kind of see it. I have more sympathy for things that come like I don't know. Anything that comes out of the earth to me is better than like a pharmaceutical product. So like
Yeah, but dude, it's like GMO, bro. It's not. It's
I mean,
not coming out of the earth anymore.
that's a good point.
These people are taking like lab
Yeah.
grown GMO gnarly. You know, it's like it's moved past that.
I've heard crazy stuff about like what gets sprayed on, I have a lot of concerns with that.
Yeah,
for sure.
yeah.
So
yeah.
I'm with you. I'm just trying to like kind of propose like a straw man alternative stance on this, or steel man, but yeah. Okay.
And
so,
that's the beauty of it, right? You get to, if you want to, you get to scale yourself 1 to 5 on this question and see if you. And I just hope that our listeners can very honestly answer this. Is it serving my wife for me to have this pot habit? Is it serving my kids?
Yeah.
Like, you know, and that could be uncomfortable, but like sit down quietly and really put it in those perspectives too. Not do I need it, or it makes me, my this my part of my life more convenient, or I have this ailment and I need my medicine. You know, I would just like try and do a reset or not. You know, again, if you think it works for you, that's fine too.
Yeah. And so the 1 to 5 is 5, you're getting through the week without any of this. You're good to go. Mm-hmm. 1 is like, if you're being honest, you need to rely on those things to kind of make stuff work. Like you feel like you need to rely on those things to process reality.
Yep.
And I have a problem with that too, because when you're showing your kids that life is too much to bear without the help of this, alcohol, or without the help of this drug or whatever, I actually can't do it on my own. I don't like that idea. I don't like the idea of my kids seeing that and being like, oh, okay, I got it. Like in order to kind of process everyday reality, I need some help. Mm-hmm. I need some chemical help.
Yep.
I don't like that.
Yeah, I mean, look, let's real talk it here for a second, right?
I thought we already
were. The appetite that our country has, our fellow countrymen and women, the appetite we have for drugs is embarrassing.
Yeah.
It's heartbreaking. The amount of people that die every day, in our country, the horrible depravity that goes on in our streets, and the ways that people have to compromise themselves and their souls. Like, it all started with just a little bit of weed. Mm-hmm. It all started with like 1 MGD that your cousin gave you, and I think that we massively need to look at this as a people, as a country, and get sober. A lot of us.
Yeah. Guess what, too? All the things that we've talked about so far, all these things work together. So the likelihood that I'm leaning on this stuff, how many people do you know that are locked in with their physical fitness, their diet, great energy levels, and they're also just crushing like weed and alcohol? Like, it's not a massive overlap. I think it's more like, hey, I feel like shit. My mood is horrible. I'm unhappy. It's like, I think it's more a companion to that type of mindset.
For sure.
And that set of problems where I'm looking for an escape. I'm looking for a way to feel better. And that's really what it is. Like, a lot of times it's looking for a way to feel better.
Yeah.
And what makes you feel better? Eating well, being physically active.
Yep.
I don't feel the need to go to that stuff because I feel great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I mean, we're on the same page. We've talked about it before. I forget who it was, but I think it was a family friend of yours or something, where it's like, yeah, they're really having a really tough time. It's like, well, what do they do every day? Oh, they're inside an apartment, video games, smoking weed, boom, 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 boom. And it's like, oh, and then it's crazy. They're depressed. And they don't know how to not get depressed, and it's like, this is what we're role modeling for our children if this is how we roll. Yeah. Like, I hate to be direct, right? But it's like, we're doing this podcast because we want to help other guys work through these really tough, difficult things, you know?
Yeah.
And I'm not saying it's easy, but you know, just be honest with yourself, because that's what breaks my heart. Like I know several dads that I love that have justified too much drinking and too much drugs over their, you know, fatherhood experience, and it breaks my heart, dude. What, you don't think it's affecting the kids and the wife?
Yeah.
You know?
And when you are in a position like that where you are not healthy and you feel like you need to feel better and you're in this kind of compromised state, you will be preyed upon by our society, by the industries in our society. Like you are easily susceptible to stuff. Like, so if I am inside all day playing video games and I'm depressed, I would more than happily, like my doctor would more than happily write me a lifelong prescription to probably multiple pharmaceutical interventions.
For sure.
Right?
Yep.
They can't wait to write that prescription. Right? And it's like, you name it, but like there's people that will be like, oh, this person's down. This person needs, you know, like, let us swoop in. Like, and it's the same with financial stuff, right? This is why you don't want to be like crushed in debt, right? Like you will be preyed upon, you know? And so this is also about like, yeah, can you kind of stand on your own and be independent with this? And I think like health, independence, being able to be independently healthy, like, hey, I don't need an intervention to feel my best and to, you know, like, I think that's really powerful. And it puts you in a really strong position.
It's huge. And again, let's move on here in a sec, but I just want to kick weed in the nuts one more time. It's like everyone knows that pharmaceuticals are bad. Like we're kind of seeing what they're all doing to people out there, right? And obviously a lot of this younger generation knows that like alcohol is a real big problem. But this thing that keeps getting this pass, and this thing that I've seen like a lot of my friends move to, is this harmless little pot gummies here and there.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's total bullshit. It's total bullshit. It is lab tested, scientific chimera weed. It's not from the earth. You know what I mean? Don't think we're playing bongo drums and we just picked that from like the forest. That's not how it's rolling nowadays. So just don't, like, if you're going to do something like that, just be honest with yourself. Like you're doing a high powered drug, and you have a crutch in your life.
Another way to put it is, when it comes to your physical health, don't look outside of yourself for any solution. Those are all external, easy button solutions. Like none of them are real or work. Like the only thing that's going to make you feel better is going to come from you. Working out, like eating well, like it's an internally focused thing where it's like, I'm changing something about my behavior or what I'm doing to create a result. Not, I feel like shit, so this thing outside over here is going to make me feel better.
And honestly, if you follow some of these other things that we're talking about, you know, that anxiety you may cure yourself of that anxiety by doing these other things. You know what I mean? You go start squatting heavy weights outside in the sun for like over a year, and you start sleeping right, and you start looking at your diet and some other stuff. And by the way, this is one we're gonna talk about other podcast stuff that you could also be doing. And you know, again, I've worked through a lot of different struggles in my life through these means and others that we're going to talk about, and I'm cured of those things. I don't suffer from those things anymore, you know, and it did not require me going to the pharmacy or going to the local freaking cannabis shop or the bar to do it. So I'm glad that you put that out there. You do not have to do this stuff. It can be extreme on this one.
All right, next one. 1 to 5. If you had to physically defend your family, how confident would you be in your ability? So let's all just kind of be honest here. You know, like, this is a real thing. If you've ever lived in a city or like anywhere that's somewhat dangerous, like, you know, there's a constant potential threat of violence. You have a family now. Don't listen to this and be like, oh, that's like some like bro, like, you know, right-wing extremist take on, like, no, like you have a family. There are violent, crazy people out there, people on drugs, people that are in different kind of realities than you are. And so, in my opinion, I think in our opinion, like, this is something that you kind of have to have on your radar. And so I know a lot of people that I guarantee this is a 1. Like, there's no answer to this. It's just like, well, hopefully that doesn't happen. And to me, again, this is our podcast, our opinions. That's not acceptable, in my opinion.
No, because here, and I agree with you, Sam. Like, if again, we have all different types of listeners, and we do want to reach dads of all different backgrounds. And so, but here's the deal: whether you like it or not, when you made the decision to be a father, to have children, like one of the unwritten rules of being a father is you have to protect those little people.
Yeah.
You know, you have to be able to protect your wife. Again, whether that's discussed or not, or whether you think you're in the right era for that to be the thing, it is. Like, it will always be a thing. And this stuff, I mean, your worst day of your life and your family's life could come today, could come tomorrow.
Yeah.
And you have to be ready for that. As a father, you have to. How, like, you know, so again, we're not saying that Sam and I are Jason Bourne, you know, and we're also not like, don't take this in being like, well, you know, like, we're just saying if you had to fight an average streetwalker guy that was trying to take yours or hurt someone in your family, like, how many minutes of cardio do you have all out? Have you ever learned how to punch? Do you have any wrestling? Do you have any other tools on you that you can legally carry? Like, the first time that this really became aware for me, I was in my late 20s, and Ashley and I were and when I say, I mean, the first time I became aware of my role as a protector as a husband and a father. Not, you know, I grew up kind of getting into fights and stuff like that, and I know you have that background too. So, and so I think it's harder for people growing up that don't have that background, you know. But we'll kind of cover that as well. But anyway, I was reading this book. It's by a retired Delta operator named Pat McNamara. I think it's called
Pat Mac.
Yeah, Pat Mac. I think oh man, The Guardian or something like that. It's a book he wrote.
I know his series. What's it called? Something like your family security detail. Like it.
Yeah, basically it's
Sentinel.
Yeah, the Sentinel. Thank you, the Sentinel. And I do think if you don't have any primer in this, get that book on Amazon, because there's a lot of good stuff in that book just about capability in general, right? But one of them is there's some passing line, I'm paraphrasing, but it's like, look, if the president of the United States gets this entire security detail, you know, if some local politician gets a security detail, if some rich person you don't have a lot of respect for just because they're rich gets a security detail, like, why does your child not deserve a security detail? Why does your wife not? You're like, your wife and your child deserve, in your opinion, probably deserve a security detail more than any of those people.
Yeah.
Right. So who's that security detail? That's you. And it's like, you need to have the training and the tools and the skills on hand at a moment's notice, right? And don't, you know, I know the argument is, oh, what, you're going to fight a Navy SEAL? It's like, no, I'll probably be a road bump for a Navy SEAL, but hopefully I could, you know, create space for 2 seconds for them to get away. Yeah. We're talking just like, what is the best you can do to defend against a violent attacker, you know?
Yeah. I mean, it's also, you know, I think I'm somewhat familiar with Pat Mac's material, and it's like a lot of it is just basic awareness of your surroundings. And so we live in one of the safest places in the country, factually speaking. Like, it's truly one of the safest places. And even here, I mean, just in the last year or two, there was something where some kid got taken off of a dock right down here by the water because their parents were nearby and weren't paying attention. And it was like, I don't know how old the kid was, but he was, for a moment, by himself. Someone was watching this whole situation and said, oh, kid's by himself. I'm going to go grab him. Took this kid. I'm pretty sure the story went that the kid got kidnapped, or maybe he got caught in the act of kidnapping the kid and like got out of there or something. But like, it was going down because the parents weren't on top of it, you know? So this isn't just like, oh, get jacked and have a gun. It's like, no, like, it's also being aware of your surroundings, you know? So I don't know, man. We talked about this one. We did an episode on physicality and self-defense, and we talked a lot about it in that. I think the fitness milestones, we covered it a bit as well, as like why this stuff matters. And there's a lot of factors that come into play here. But yeah, like if again, physically defending your family, how confident are you? If your answer is like a 1, I would, or even like 3 or less, I would look at that as something, right?
Yeah. And you know, again, this trickles into other parts of your life, right? So I will say this, similar to weightlifting, similar to eating right? You just taking care of yourself, that is appealing and attractive to your partner. her feeling more protected around you and safer around you will also be a benefit to you in your romantic relationship.
Won't hurt, yeah.
Right? And that is where I have seen some massive, massive chinks in people's marriages happen when their wife does not feel secure or like they can handle business.
Yeah.
You know, and again, we're not asking you to turn into a Navy SEAL, okay? But there are things you can do to be capable. And part of it is, you know, I think they interviewed like a bunch of people in prison and they showed videos of different people's walking their different gates, right?
Yeah.
And supposedly the prisoners all picked the same targets.
Yeah.
Right. And the same people they didn't want to mess with, they all were like, nope, I wouldn't mess with them. And right. And part of that is simply going to CrossFit a bunch or having some muscle mass and walking around with some authority. Now, again, if it goes past that level and you find yourself in a bad situation, you need other things.
Jiu-jitsu and like other things come into play.
But like you said, mindset and just physical appearance, like you will not be targeted by a lot of predators just on those things. And then for some of us, we feel like, and we're obligated to also go above and beyond that. Like, again, for whatever reason, my makeup or whatever, my story and my background, that really resonated with me, like in that book. I'm like, my kids deserve the best. My wife deserves the best of me at all times. And one of those things is they deserve a damn security detail, you know, even if it's a one guy operation, right? There's a lot of, it's kind of the golden era too of good information and training. Like, there are very good people you can go learn from that have experience in these things. And it's not this big macho thing. It's actually a lot of the time very cerebral and like facts based. And here's statistically why you could do this or that. And here's why you maybe want this tool or that tool. And here's a measure of how you know what your capability is with this. Like, it's not this big like G.I. Joe macho thing if you don't want it to be.
You could find that if you wanted to.
And honestly, if you do find that, run away. Because a lot of the time that's all built on like a bunch of nonsense.
Yeah.
But go find the quiet professionals that have been there and done that, but they don't need to just sit there and tell war stories all the time. They actually have a system to like pass along to you. And maybe, you know, at some point if people are interested in this, we could have more of a dedicated episode on this, but you know, again, if you're resistant to this, it's like, sorry, you're a dad. You have children. They deserve you to be capable on some level.
Yeah.
You know, your wife does too. And it's just part of it, right? It's like we signed up for this stuff.
I know people that are like adamantly against the idea of like, I will never own a gun. And like, I'm not even trying to go here with this question, but just like philosophically, like I've talked to people that are like, well, I will never own a gun. So if someone breaks into my house, like, so be it. And it's just like this is one of those things that to me gets into like, that's cool that you believe what you believe, but that's not you can't impose your belief system on the world around you.
Yes.
Just because you have some fancy belief system about like violence, there shouldn't be violence, you know? So I'm not gonna be ready to defend myself.
Yep.
It's not like that's not how the world works. And when you live in a city with a lot of violence, you quickly rid yourself of that. Like, oh yeah, it's not my choice. Like there's violence all the time and it just it happens. And so it's a fact of life.
Yep.
So I don't know, man. Okay. Last one. You good on that one?
Yeah, we already got through all this. That's wild. Yeah.
All right. Last one. 1 to 5. How physically, let's do it on a weekly basis. How physically present are you with your kids? So this means how much time are you physically like interacting, engaging with your kids, spending time present with them. So this gets into some of the variables we talked about are, your career. Different lines of work here can make things difficult. I know guys that work night shifts that like they're gone all night. They sleep a lot during the day. They see their kids for dinner, you know, and like here and there, and that's tough.
Yep.
Putting that aside, then we get into other ways that we spend our time, right? So are you home but in another room scrolling on your phone? Are you watching TV? Are you maybe engaging in hobbies that things you love doing that are like great for you but taking you away from time with your family? You know, so again, these are 1 to 5. 5 is like, hey, I'm very physically present with my kids. So like on a daily basis, I'm spending significant time with my kids, holding them, doing stuff with them, playing with them, reading to them, like whatever is appropriate based on the age.
Yeah.
and one is like, well, I'm really busy with work, and then I've got to go do this with the guys, and so
Yeah.
I didn't really see my kids much last week.
Yep. Yep. Yeah, and we wanted to put this one in because, again, a lot of this stuff today is about your physical body and what you're doing with it and to it, and how and how you're training. But at the last minute, we're like, let's add this one in because for a fatherhood podcast, it's kind of arguably one of the most important, right? It's like, are you doing all this other stuff, but you're actually not at the house a lot? And
Yeah.
and
It's a good counterbalance.
is there adjustments you can make for that to be the case? So yeah, it's just another part of the assessment we want you to take. And we also understand that you guys are all busy and we're busy too. And so you got to find a couple of these core ones where you score low and focus on those, right? So we're not going to fix everything, but this may just be one where guys are like, oh man, I could figure out how to be present more for my kids. So it's super, super important. One of the things that I work with, people, again, grieving their parents down the road, and different issues they've had, a lot of the time is absenteeism, and I just didn't really know my dad. I didn't really see him. He wasn't there for all the milestones in my life, and it's like sometimes there's heartbreaking, legitimate reasons, it's like, yeah, they just, I know some really amazing men and they're deployed a lot, and their wife handles a bunch of the stuff at home and the kids, and they're all bearing a real burden for our country. And that's like a really hard thing. There's not really a fixable piece of that. But if, that's an extreme case. Like I think a lot of dads are in a position where like, yeah, I could probably be around more, or I could check in more and play with my 6-year-old at home versus doom scrolling or, getting on video games or whatever. I mean that's true for me.
Yeah.
I know for sure. It depends on what night you catch me on. Whether I'm going to be like grumpy on the couch by myself or I'm sitting playing chess with a kid or we're hiking or doing something so we're all guilty of it, but I think it's a good reminder of like, rate yourself right now. Like what are you on that?
I think that phone usage is a big variable in this one.
Yes.
Yes. I actually have had the idea of wanting to do an episode about the impact of your phone usage on your kids. So not the impact of technology on your kids, and you're kind of like metering that, but your actual use of technology around your kids. I saw some really interesting stuff recently that was like, when your kids are trying to get your attention and interact with you and you're like interrupting that with looking at your phone, how harmful that is to them. Like it really messes with them and can create like various issues, behavior, like they're sad, like it's like it's hard for them. But anyways, I think that's one of the big factors here is like physical presence. One way to think about this, like a 5 would be that when you're with your kids, like your phone's somewhere else. Your phone's in a drawer somewhere in a different room. It's not with you at all.
Yep.
Right? Because you're not going to be fully physically present with your phone nearby.
Yep.
And so I think that's a good aspiration for most people. I try to do that. I think I'm pretty good with this one. Like when I'm home, I'm home, and if I'm using my phone, I try very hard to not be looking at my phone if my kids are in the room. So if I got to do something on my phone, I will go out of the room, as an example. Like I try not to like be doing this with them nearby.
Yeah.
But I think that's a big factor. And I think some people are very loose about this.
I mean, you're way ahead of the game compared to me. Like it's something for sure Ashley and I struggle with. We're constantly hating our phones, blaming our phones. Like we definitely fall into that camp for sure. Like I would say out of all these today, that would be the one that I think is my wake up call. Like, man, I got to improve that part of my fathering,
Yeah. I think it's harder. I have some more sympathy for moms in this one, especially stay-at-home moms, where there's like with the kids all day, they got to be doing stuff on their phone, like making plans for stuff. Like it's more of I think that's more challenging. But if you work outside the house and you're like leaving for a portion of the day, then coming home, like a lot of us are, I'm kind of thinking put your phone away when you get home, like at least while the kids are awake. I think it's time to put the phone away is one way to think about it. But
well, you're being mean to me, Sam, so I don't like
sorry.
what you're saying. So I'll just think of an excuse so I don't have to change my behavior.
Okay, so yeah, our goal with these was like you're hopefully in some type of maybe some goal setting mindset coming into the new year. And whether you want to score each of these carefully and then figure out which ones to prioritize, or just use them to influence areas of focus or goals for you this year, I think either is fine. But hopefully there's something on here, and I think there will be for both of us, where it's like, oh man, you know, like this is way out of whack. Or like, I think there's going to be people that hear this that are way off the scale on multiple of these. Like, yeah, I'm not really working out, not really paying attention to my food. I'm drinking, you know, like couldn't really defend my family if I had to. Like I think that's totally a thing. But I would be willing to bet that if you're pushing on improving these, I think it's gonna be good for you and be better for your life.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I was going to tie this in, and I just remembered. So we've talked about on a different episode, but one of the things we think is the most valuable assets that you could put in your home is a little home gym.
Yeah.
Because that does a couple of things, right? If you're physically wanting to be more present with your kids, throw them in the gym with you. Like, I work out very often with the kids in the gym. I know you do too. I'm very pumped. My wife started working out too. And it's like such a fun, joyous thing for all of us to be moving our bodies in space, like together. So again, some of these you really can kind of work in conjunction together with. But I would say out of all of those, if you're kind of like, honestly, I'm kind of not scoring great on the physical part, you know, and you may score better on some of the other episodes that we come up with, but you just may not, you know, have a background where you're really physical, and that's okay. So if you're kind of thinking, man, I'm not scoring that great on this, not a big deal. But I would say out of all these things, if you're at 3 or below and you're like, man, I don't know where to get started, I think a lot of problems are solved by you starting with strength training. I think nutrition will find its way there if you stay consistent with this. I think you being a protector of your home starts with you becoming strong physically. You know, and again, if you're doing your workouts at home, like kids are very interested in physical work. And so now I'm spending more time with my kids because they're actually hanging out like with me during my workouts. I think a lot of problems get solved with the physical episode if we can find a really good like strength training program.
Energy too.
Oh, there you go. I missed it. But I mean, I think all of them, if I were to start with one, that would be the one.
I mean,
it's going to help
all these work together, because like physical presence, you're going to be more fun with your kids if your energy's higher. If you feel good in your body, you got energy.
Yep.
You're in a good mood. Yeah, being with your kids is going to be way better than wanting to just like be on the couch on your phone.
Yeah.
And be totally out of it, you know.
And also like mindset, like you were saying, like you're going to be more in tune with your surroundings to protect your family. If you're physically fit and you're eating right and you're getting sleep, you're going to be in the moment more to escape trouble before it happens, or see stuff unraveling before other people do, and just get your family out of there, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, they all do go hand in hand. But again, if you feel overwhelmed with just this category in general, just find yourself a strength training program.
Yep.
You know?
Well, listen to episode 2.
Yeah.
Don't just go on Google and search strength training program.
No, do not do that.
Start with episode 2. We truly lay out step by step how to get started, like from home with no expertise, no background, no equipment. You can do that from home.
Yeah.
So.
Yep.
So this is the first of, I think we'll do 3 episodes on this, and this is obviously a big part of the puzzle, and I think it's right that we put this one first. I think it's so foundational to the others. Like I think it's just a big part of the puzzle.
Yes.
So I'm glad we did this one first. Yeah. Anything else you want to hit on this one?
No. Just again, we love your feedback. So we're posting stuff more on YouTube now. So if you watch there, comment there. If you're on Spotify, comment. Just leave comments on what you're digging, what you want to hear more about. I think we both really, the feedback helps us a lot. And that's that, you know.
Yeah. And if you're feeling it, please leave a rating on Spotify. So Spotify, you can't leave a review. It's just like a rating. And then Apple Podcasts has reviews and ratings. So please hook it up if you don't mind. Helps us, you know, get the word out. And we're still early days on this and trying to get more people to check it out. So that helps. Same with YouTube. we're finally getting our shit together and
Yep.
putting episodes on YouTube, videos on Spotify now. So
Yep.
we got that going for us.
Thank you for listening, and we'll see you next time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you guys.
We'll get better at getting out of these episodes too.
It's fine. We're down to 5 people.